You're watching KSL Sports Live.
Thanks for staying up with us. We've got a great show. A conversation with Weber State star Dillon Jones is on the way.
Yeah, and from the gym to the court to the diamond, it was a great weekend for Utah women's sports.
But we begin in the NBA. Victor Wembanyama, one of the most hyped rookies in league history, as I'm sure you know. Tonight, the first chance for Jazz fans to see him in person.
Yeah, Wemby and the Spurs in town for one of 4 Utah Jazz home games on a Sunday this season. And the Jazz, they were trying to put an end to this funk they're in, a 5-game losing streak. Well, it didn't take long before those Jazz fans got to see the #1 pick scoring buckets in this game. Wemby magic, is this it? I don't know what this is, but somehow this first bucket of the game looked effortless from Wembanyama. It was a rookie that gave the Jazz the lead, though. Keontae George, deep three to go up 10-8. And then the Jazz start to steamroll here. Lauri Markkanen with the pickpocket. John Collins is going to finish at the other end to go up 12-8. How about another Jazz rookie, Taylor Hendricks, blocking the dunk attempt. Right back the other way we go. Jordan Clarkson for 3, and the Jazz have a 7-point lead. Late in the quarter, Markkanen for 3, and the foul is called. It's a 4-point play. Jazz are up 24-13. Chris Dunn had an outstanding first quarter. The steal, this would end up in a dunk the other way. 2 steals, 7 points in the quarter. Jazz led 32-18 after 1. More of the same in the second quarter. How about another Chris Dunn steal? That starts the break the other way once again. Jordan Clarkson for 3. He led the Jazz with 14 first-half points. All of the Jazz rookies were getting involved early in this one. Bryce Sensabaugh for 3. The Jazz were up 44-23. Colin Sexton had 3 assists in the half, leads this one off for Hendricks for the dunk. The lead is 23. Wembanyama led the Spurs with 10 first-half points. He had this alley-oop, but the Jazz had the 63-39 lead after 2 quarters. In the second half, well, it starts off with Victor rising high and slamming one down on Taylor Hendricks.
You're not from France, you're from Mars. What?
That's one way to describe him. But Hendricks gets him back, blows past Wembanyama, and throws it down for the 22-point lead. John Collins also continued to rock the rim, down the lane for the dunk and the foul. That's a 3-point play. It's a 72-54 lead. Last year, Lowry gave us so many posters. Tonight, he tried to climb Mount Wemby. Unsuccessfully, though. It's a bit easier when you've got a clear coast. How about this? Sexton steals and flushes. Jazz still up big after 3 quarters, 93-74. But in the fourth quarter, there's no way the Jazz lose this lead, right? Wembanyama has something to say about it. The 3-pointer, 6-0 Spurs run. The Spurs are suddenly down 13. Moments later, Wemby explosive down the lane with the slam. The Spurs cut the lead to 9 at one point. But the Jazz pick up the pace again. Markkanen with the steal, then the lob to Sexton for the layup. The lead is back up to 15. More defense from Lowry. How about the block? This starts the Jazz heading the other way, where once again Clarkson's going to rise up from 3. His 4th of the game. He had 22 points off the bench. Next time down the floor, make it back-to-back threes. This time Markkanen. The Jazz lead right back up to 21. Then Markkanen finishes 26-point night with the baseline dunk. Will Hardy and his mentor Greg Popovich, they share some smiles and hugs after the game. The Jazz scored 30 or more points in all 4 quarters against the Spurs. They win 128-109. John Collins had a nice night. 20 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks. Colin Sexton, 16 points, 10 assists. Jordan Clarkson also had 10 assists in the game. Wembanyama finished with 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 blocks for the Spurs. But the Jazz pick up the win before they hit the road for the next 3.
We all start to click, and it's almost like we've been together for a lot of years. So it's just about how can we continue to find those moments and those times in the game where we all are connected and on a string. And, now we're frustrating teams, and we're able to get on transition. And when we get on transition, we're hard to guard.
We just try to play full 48, no matter what kind of. We had some lapses there that weren't great up to our standards. So we try to kind of get back from that and get back to our style of play.
More NBA action. Bucks on the road looking to make it 2 wins in a row against the Sixers. Damian Lillard off the screen hits the 3, finished with 24 points. Under 2 seconds left in the third, Giannis throws a touchdown pass to Brook Lopez. Goes up for the dunk. Philly trying to come back. in the fourth quarter, but Giannis down low with a reverse layup and one. Giannis finishes with 30 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. Doc Rivers beats his old team. Bucks win 119-98.
Nuggets have beaten the Warriors 6 straight times. Tonight they meet again. Klay Thompson coming off the bench for the Warriors and leading the team in scoring in this one. He got hot from 3 in the first half. Helped the Warriors build a 15-point lead, but the Nuggets erased it before halftime. Jamal Murray, that 3 ties the game at 61 at the half. Then Nikola Jokic took over. He had 32 points, 16 rebounds, and 16 assists. Nuggets win again, 119-103.
An important matchup in the West. Suns hosting LeBron and the Lakers. We have a bowl sighting. Starting to reach his NBA potential. 11 points in 24 minutes tonight. LeBron's still one of the best players in the league, even at age 39. The steal and the hammer. Led the Lakers with 28, 12, and 7. For the Suns, it was role players who shined. Former Jazz man Grayson Allen made 6 threes. He led the Suns with 24. And Royce O'Neal, the new Sun, with his first 20 and 10 game in his NBA career, 6 threes. Suns back to 6 in the West. Lakers 10th. Right now to college hoops. It's been a great season for Utah women's basketball. The 18th ranked Utes have had to overcome their share of adversity and in the process have built an impressive resume that now includes 4 top 10 victories. That's the most in the country. That'll come in handy in March. They got number 4 at 7th ranked USC on Sunday. Pick it up in the first quarter. Alyssa Peely showing a range, hits a 3. Caps a 7-0 Utah run. Former Trojan. End of the first, Kennedy McQueen. Pride of North Summit High School with a steal, the and one on the other end. Utah led by 8 after 1. Third quarter, Deja Young, the sidestep, 3. Utes take a 9-point lead. Fourth quarter, Jenna Johnson's going to feed Peely inside. Utes hanging on to a 5-point lead. You go to the fourth quarter where USC and Juju Watkins keep it close. The freshman phenom hits the 3 ball. Juju had 30. But the Utes answered every run by the Trojans. Utah bounces back and snaps USC's win streak. Peely leads Utah with 23 and 9. It's the highest ranked team that Utah's ever beat on the road in program history. They wrap up the regular season at home this week against the Washington Schools. He could have gone to the NBA last year, but he chose to come back for one more run at Weber State. And Dillon Jones' stock is rising, projected as a late first-round pick in the NBA draft this year. I sat down with the latest Wildcat star to learn more about his NBA Combine experience, his relationship with Damian Lillard, and to find out how a native of Columbia, South Carolina, found his way to Ogden.
It's a crazy story. I did my senior year in Sunrise Christian Academy in Wichita, Kansas. And, I played that year. I had a lot of offers early on at where I'm from in South Carolina. But a lot of those schools, for whatever reason, stopped recruiting me, maybe because a lot of them was like East Coast offers and things like that. So that I guess they thought they couldn't get me or whatever. And, then on top of that, COVID happened, and I played that year basically with no offers and stuff. And then COVID happened and everything went virtual, and recruiting became way, I guess, more easier because you could just talk to people and it wasn't really visits. And I got a call from Coach Daniels, and he just told me that Weber was interested. And from there I did my research about the program and things, and I was like, this is a pretty good program, because obviously being where I'm from, I've never heard of it, honestly. Even with Dame being from here, I've never really heard of it. And so after I did my research, I thought it was a pretty big time program, and, had to weigh in options. It was a tough decision, but I chose here.
That turned out to be a great decision.
Right. Yeah, I think it did. I think everything happened how it was supposed to. My brother knew Coach Jorge Ruiz for like a while, even before. And it was just funny how everything originated. It's always cool to just think back on how everything just went. It's almost like it's supposed to happen.
What does it mean to be a part of this great basketball tradition at Weber State? We see the greats on the wall behind you, and of course that includes Damian Lillard.
I think it means a lot. I think for somebody like me who has values, I think in the right things, I think it means a lot. I think if I valued other things like I guess, more fame and fortune and things like that. It wouldn't mean so much, but I think the substance in that is, being at a place where you can always call home, you can always go back to, and always be remembered for not only the things you've done on the court, but also off.
How much time have you been able to spend with Damian?
I spent quite a bit of time, at least for what his schedule presents. I've gone to his camp before. We've talked, through text or whatever and things like that. So I'll say we spent quite a bit of time together.
How much has that relationship helped you?
It's helped me a lot. I think, for somebody like me that's striving to get to the highest level, and I can always have a resource like that to always reach back and not only show me some steps, but give me pointers along the way. Even to the fact that, he can, tell me things that he's even hearing. I think earlier this year, he texted me earlier and was like, he's hearing great things from scouts, just little things like that. For people that have the access and that information, being that he came from here is important to me in my position.
That's just part of the interview with Dillon. We got much more coming up later on in KSL Sports Live. We have to take a short break. More fun when we return.
Yeah, we also catch up with Jeff Benedict, his latest project, a Dynasty docuseries.
Potter at the buzzer. Got it!
A March Madness teaser. A big upset in the Big Ten, and we check in with the Cougars and Aggies as they continue to build their NCAA tournament resume.
With people knowing who I was, I thought I could put together an even stronger body of work.
The conversation continues. More from future NBA draft pick Dillon Jones. Can he lead the Wildcats to the big dance? And championships crowned in high school hoops. Those highlights are right around the corner. Stick around.
You are watching KSL Sports Live.
College hoops, we've got a thriller between Ohio State and Michigan State that came down to the final second.
Ed Potter at the buzzer. Got it!
The Buckeyes, second to last place in the Big Ten, just fired their coach. They knock off Michigan State in an upset. The Spartans now firmly on the bubble. All right, BYU had a rough trip to Manhattan, Kansas Saturday. The 25th ranked Cougs shot just 19% from three in an 84-78 loss to Kansas State.
Yeah, but they're 13th in the net rankings still, thanks to a 78-71 win over 11th ranked Baylor. That came on Tuesday night.
Yeah, much more fun to look back on this game, right? It was a game where the Cougars really showed what they're capable of when shots are falling. They shot 14 of 36 from three, 39%. Much better than Saturday. Trevenel, 3 of 7 from three. Ali Khalifa playing like Nikola Jokic, nearly a triple-double. 14.7 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal and a block. And the Cougars also got 16 off the bench from Jackson Robinson, including that dagger late in the fourth. The 78-71 win was impressive because of the slow start, rallying from being down 8-0 to start the game.
It felt like the guys' answer to like things not going right was like, we're gonna just we're gonna wedge every time, we're gonna crush the offensive glass, and we're gonna go hard in transition, and that's really the answer. And we're gonna cut hard all game long and be really creative and screen. And so it's our guys' mentality that's pretty special. That's kind of carried the day for us.
It shows you what they can do in March. The win also marks the first victory against a top 15 opponent at home since the Cougs' 91-78 win on February 22nd, 2020 against number 2 Gonzaga. With 3 wins over ranked teams this season, San Diego State, Iowa State, and Baylor, it marks the most ranked opponents the Cougars have defeated in a season ever.
Well, Utah State's path to the big dance, it's still paved right in front of them, and they improved that resume this past week with a win over 19th-ranked San Diego State. A win that keeps them in the top 30 of those net rankings. Darius Brown II, he led the way with a season-high 25 points for the Aggies in that win. Great Osibor scored in double figures for the 15th straight game. He had 17 points and 7 assists. This is Utah State's second win against a ranked opponent this season, marking just the third time in school history that has actually happened. It's the first time since 2007. ESPN bracketology still has the Aggies as a single-digit seed, projected as an 8th seed.
4 more games in the regular season, and we control our own destiny. We control our own destiny. So, and this break is coming at the perfect time. This was a rough 6-game stretch that we had. Some bad losses, some good wins, some bad wins, some great. Like it's been every type of win. It's good that we get some time off to rest our bodies and then come down home stretch and be ready.
The win is also huge in the race for the top seed in the Mountain West tournament. Utah State is 10-4 in conference, play a half game ahead of San Diego State. They have the tiebreaker with Boise State for first place. Next up, Utah State at Fresno State on Tuesday night.
All right, now to golf. 3 years ago, Jake Knapp's professional golf career looked to be over. He lost his Korn Ferry Tour status and failed to qualify for Q School. Well, then he went to work as a bouncer at a nightclub to make ends meet, but he refused to give up on his PGA Tour dream. He earned his PGA Tour card in 2023, and on Sunday had a chance to win his first PGA Tour event, the Mexico Open at Vedanta. Knapp had a third-round 63, which set him up for victory Sunday. All he had to do was hold on. This chip and run on the green on 14 helped him hold off the field. He would birdie that hole, and then he goes par the rest of the way, and he does it. He wins the Vedanta by 2 strokes. Knapp gets his first PGA Tour win in just his 5th career start. From bar bouncer to Mexico Open champion in 2 years. His reward, $1.5 million, and even better, a spot in the Masters in April. Tony Finau was the defending champion of the Mexico Open. He made a run on Sunday. He fired a 3-under 68. He would climb up 7 spots to finish tied for 13th.
We go to 18.
He goes 11 under for the tournament.
Well, I bet you've never seen this before today. This is in the Grapefruit League, spring training. Cameron Meisner, outfielder in the Rays minor league system, hits a high fly to right against the Tigers. It drops in and is inadvertently kicked further into the outfield. Meisner able to run all the way around the bases for a stand-up inside the park homer.
A great moment in the Royals-Angels spring training game. Keep your eye in left field. This is Royals outfielder Javier Vaz. Goes into foul territory to make a great sliding catch. And again, look at the reaction from the young Angels fan right there in red. Whoa! Yep, baseball's fun, isn't it? Great catch.
Utah softball just outside the top 25, taking on Nebraska. Utah fell behind 5-0 to start the 5th. Abby Dalton smacks her first career home run. The Utes make it a 5-3 game to end the 5th. In the top of the 6th, Haley Denning bloops one over third. That scores 2, and it ties the game up. One batter later, Aaliyah Velarde gives the Utes the lead. Utah with a nice come-from-behind win, 9-5. All right, the Red Rocks had their best meet of the season Friday night. They posted a season-high 198.075 against Stanford. Ella Zerbis posted 3 scores of 9.9 or higher, and the Red Rocks Beam team had 3 9.975s in a row. But the performance of the night, that came on the floor from Olympian Grace McCallum. McCallum followed up a near-perfect 9.975 on the beam with the perfect 10 on the floor. This is McCallum's first career 10 on floor. Utah hasn't had a perfect floor routine since 2019 when Red Rocks legend and fellow Olympian Michaela Skinner got one in the Pac-12 championships.
It was really special to get a 10 on floor. I knew that Utah hadn't got a 10 on floor in years, and so it just made it that much more special. And I've been working so hard in the gym every day, and I just was really hoping that one of these days it would pay off. So, yeah, it was really cool.
BYU and Utah State are near locks for the NCAA tournament. Utah's on the bubble, but what about Weber State? Well, Dillon Jones hopes to help lead the Wildcats to a conference tournament championship and a spot in the big dance. Here's more of my conversation with Dillon Jones. Last summer, you had a great experience at the G League and NBA Combines. What impact did that experience have on you?
I think the main thing it did for me was it gave me the platform, first of all, to show that I can, play against higher level competition and players. I think that was the most important thing it did. I think I've always had that belief in myself, but I think for the world, that was important for them to see that I could belong there and not only be a player, but be a good player and, actually impact the game in so many ways.
You know what? You might have been drafted last year, but you decided to return to Weber State for one more year. Why did you make that decision?
I think most importantly, I think that when it came down to the process, the decision making was, I guess, what would I be giving up versus getting? And I didn't think that what I guess was on the table or what could have been possible was worth giving up what I had here. I did firmly believe that with how I came on the scene, that if I go back and put together another year like I confidently know I can, and God's willing, everything goes how it's supposed to with no injuries and things. But if I just had that confidence that I could do it again with the attention that I had garnered, with people knowing who I was, I thought I could put together an even stronger body of work, show another level of jump and improvement, and which I have done, and I think that was most important.
It's been a wild ride this season. Great wins, head-scratching losses. You lose 4 or 5 in conference, and then run off 6 straight wins. How would you describe this season?
I mean, it's been crazy. Like you said, we've had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. But I think, at least for me personally, it's been the best thing that's probably I could have got out of this year. I think if we would have just rolled through the season with flying colors, I think I wouldn't have been faced with much. I think for someone that's trying to go where I'm trying to go, there's going to be adversity. There's going to be things like that. And I think I'm more proud of how this year went than any other year.
All the way down for the win. MVP Indy.
Because when the chips were down, not only against me, but against my team and everyone here, the coaches, and going to expectations and things, when the chips were down, we really found a way when no one else thought we really could to, turn our season around and get back on the right track. And just to have that perspective, man, it's been a crazy year, but, I wouldn't want it any other way.
So how has all of that prepared you for what matters most? We all know it comes down to the Big Sky tournament and hopefully an NCAA tournament appearance.
Yeah, I think it's just been, obviously before even the Eastern Washington game, even the Idaho game, down 7 with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go, just somehow finding a way to win that game. I think it's just more about finding ways to win. I think when it goes to the tournament, you can think this script is how it's supposed to look, but you never know how it will. And I think this year we've shown, even in this little patch we've been through, is like finding ways to win in a multitude of ways, But also, I think most important is like finding our identity as a team, defensively, setting that tone and presence of us as a team, and that's what's going to win us games.
Your story isn't written yet, but how do you want to be remembered when your time as a Wildcat is done?
I want to be remembered as a player that, in an era where social media is big and NIL is such a big thing and whatever, I want to be someone that's been remembered as somebody that no matter anything that I was maybe pressured with from the outside, public, whatever, I kind of stood on what I believed in through the whole time when I came into college, and I didn't waver that at all. When I came in, I said, I want to be a part of a program where I can be successful, the team can be successful, and I can have a chance to be a pro. Once those things was presented to me, I didn't go back on that word and was like, oh, well, I'm going to go make this money somewhere else, because that could have been very easy to do. That's what I want to be more remembered as, Obviously, I want to win a championship and things like that. But I think personally as a player, I never, I guess, gave up on here.
Go watch Dillon Jones while you can. On this day 47 years ago, Pistol Pete Maravich put on the greatest scoring game in Jazz franchise history. February 25th, 1977. Then the New Orleans Jazz, taking on the Knicks. Pistol Pete put on a show. 26 of 43 from the field, 16 of 19 from the foul line. A franchise record 68-point game and a 124-107 win over the New York Knicks. You know it's old when it's in black and white. He scored 68 without a three-point line. Remember, that three-point line didn't exist in the NBA until 1979. He might have scored 100 with a three-point line.
What a legend. Well, let's bring it back to 2024. The Kings and Clippers in the third quarter. Domantas Sabonis with the emphatic slam. The Kings are up 68-51. In the fourth, De'Aaron Fox loses possession, still gets the layup to fall, and Sabonis gets his 19th triple-double of the season. The Kings win 123-107.
Should have been an all-star. Time for a quick break. When we come back, it's time for the best from the state tournament in hoops.
5A quarterfinals and state championship games in Class 2A and 3A. Plus, what's the definition of a sports dynasty? We'll hear that according to author Jeff Benedict on his new docuseries. The Blackhawks hosting the Red Wings. Chicago retiring Hall of Famer Chris Chelios' number. He played for both of those franchises. Patrick Kane also played for Chicago for 16 seasons, now with the Red Wings, making his first return to Chicago. And in overtime, it's Kane with the game winner. The Red Wings leading the charge for the wild card in the East.
Why did it take 25 years to retire the number of Chris Chelios in Chicago? The goal of the year might belong to this girls high school hockey player. Watch Lorelei Nelson out of Edina High School in Minnesota, Class 2A girls hockey state championship game against Hill Murray. Lorelei gets nifty with the stick to put the state title on ice. Oh my goodness, guess what? She's just a sophomore in high school. Incredible. All right, now to high school basketball here in Utah. It's tournament time. Both the boys and girls began their state tournaments this week, a week that included a few matchups of crosstown rivals.
Yeah, back on February 13th, the final week of the high school hoops regular season, Timpview knocked off the Orem Tigers by 3 points in overtime. Well, on Saturday at Huntsman Center, those two teams met again, this time the 5A quarterfinals, and it was a thriller again. Orem had a 10-point lead at the half. In the third quarter, they extend that lead. Asher Young putting the Tigers up by 14. Timpview didn't fade, though. Dean Ruckert goes inside for the dunk, cuts the lead to 2, then the 3-ball. Timpview taking the lead, entering the fourth quarter. Final minute of the game now. Timpview up 5. Young cuts the lead to 2 for the Tigers. Then Young, a chance to tie this one up. He's going to lay it in with just under 10 seconds to play. Would we get another overtime matchup between these two? Well, Timpview's Nalia Aisa draws the foul, makes one free throw for the lead. Orem not able to get another shot off. Timpview advancing to the semifinals with the win.
Number 1 Alta taking on 8th-seeded Brighton. Brighton's Easton Bradley was on fire from the opening tip. 4 3-pointers in the first quarter, 5 in the first half. Brighton giving Alta a scare. They built a 6-point lead at the half. We go to the third quarter, and Alta's Jackson Johnson, Utah bound, draws the foul, cuts the lead to 2. Next possession, Dash Riser for 3. Gives Alta the lead, and they would never trail again. Carter Doliak led Alta with 26 points on 12 of 13 shooting, including that dunk. Alta moves on to the semifinals with a 10-point win.
Number 3 Highland against number 6 Bountiful. Final seconds of the first quarter. Highland's Isaiah Drisdom drives to beat the buzzer. He misses, but George McConkey is there for the putback. Now to the end of the second. Satuala Falatau, he gets the and one with under 20 seconds to play. Bountiful took a 10-point lead into the break, but Highland wouldn't go away. They got the game close, and in the fourth, Jack Anderson ties the game from the corner with 4 minutes to play. Then under 2 minutes, Drisdom with 2 big possessions for the Rams. Lays this one up and in, and then he drops a big-time 3-pointer from the top of the arc to give Highland a 4-point lead with a minute to play. On the other end, the big man McConkey gets the huge block to stop the Redhawks, and Highland rallies back for the 65-59 win.
And the number 2 team, Olympus, facing 10th-seeded Skyline in a rivalry rematch. Second quarter, Olympus on the break. Great ball movement. Ends up in Dutch Dowdell's hands for the lay-in. Titans with an 8-point lead at half. We go to the third quarter. Gavin Lowe leading the break to Jordan Barnes. He's headed to Utah State. Fell down but keeps it alive on his back. Ball makes its way over to Reef Smiley for 3. Barnes was dishing all night long. Goes behind the back to Lowe. Woo, for an easy 2. Then Barnes going to find Dowdell in the corner to beat that third quarter buzzer. And how about this stat line? 20 assists, 0 points for Barnes. He doesn't care. Smiley and Dowdell both with 23, Low 22. Olympus wins big, 76-43. They'll face Highland in the semis. All right, both 2A and 3A crowned their champions on Saturday, both boys and girls. For the 3A boys, South Summit looked like a lock for the title with only 3 losses the entire season. Well, Judge Memorial was the 10th seed in the tournament, a record barely over 500. It would be no easy task for the Bulldogs. The game in the final minute here. Aiden Saucedo from the side drains the 3. Judge up 63-60. South Summit, 30 seconds left. Gage McKee, he gets the dunk in the clutch to cut it to 1. Judge hits 2 free throws to go up 3. 10 seconds left. South Summit for the tie. In overtime, it's off the mark. Judge Memorial, the Bulldogs win their first state championship since 2008. 65-62 the final.
In the 2A boys finals, North Summit taking on Enterprise. Fourth quarter, Trevor Richens gets it down low and scores the bucket. He finished this game with 17. Enterprise wins the 2A boys state championship.
The 3A girls title game down to number 2 Richfield and number 5 Emory. Final seconds of the first half. Emory's Libby Fiamalo with the steal, the bucket, and one. Cuts the lead to 4, 27-23. We go late in the fourth quarter now. Game tied up. Abby Albrecht drives right for the hoop for the lead. Richfield wouldn't lose the lead. They win the 3A Girls State Championship.
The City Stars wore new uniforms. Those uniforms were designed by a local 5th grader whose design won him a contest and got the jerseys made. The award for winning the contest, $1,000 donated to the elementary school, another $1,000 to the Jordan School District, and of course the Stars wore the uniforms. In the process, they beat the Ontario Clippers on a game-winning 3 in overtime. Pretty cool stuff. I'd wear that uniform.
Always nice to beat the Ontario Clippers. I hate them.